is my first ever Zoom, so I don't know how it works.
Me too.
Are you ready? It's been 6 years since the last one. I mean, I'm all for...
In some ways it feels like
easy.
12 years. In some ways it feels like 6 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like I've changed a whole lot. I've made a note here that we should talk about what we've been up to.
Oh.
Did you want to summarise your 6 years first?
So I moved house to over the road.
Real far.
Over the bridge.
Just for context, the bridge is this
tiny
big.
bridge. Yeah.
It's like 3 steps.
Tiny bridge. It's good though because we just like carried all our stuff to the new house.
I hate moving.
Been on holiday a few times to Greece, which I loved. That was like my first summer holidays. Oh my God, I'm gonna just, I try and forget how boring I am, but when you have to say it out loud, I weirdly, I'm about the same weight now as I was last time. I've put on a shitload of weight and now I've lost some.
And then lost it again.
Yeah, balanced it out.
I'm heavier, but I put on even more than I've lost too soon.
My whole life is just getting fat and then losing it, and then getting fat and losing it. I changed jobs a few times. I worked in like a legal firm for a bit and then got bored of that, and now I work at Interflora, which is
flowers
cool.
And shit.
Yeah.
And what is your job there?
I'm a retail marketing administrator. So it sounds fancy, but I just do lots of admin, lots of spreadsheets, deal with ordering like the stock that we get sent to florists, like business cards and stuff like that.
Okay, I never really understood what it was.
No, so because Interflora is basically kind of like a franchise, so we have loads of florists. So obviously we have the teams that deal with the customers, but our team deals with the actual florists. So communications to them, like news feeds and emails.
Not so customary.
No, which is good.
Yeah, that's good.
Although some of the florists can be a bit
lovely.
Technically they're our customers, so it's like less members of the public, which is a nice change. And I'm not on the phone like all day every day, so it's all good.
That's nice.
I much prefer that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, other than that, just same old.
I made some notes what I've been up to for the last 6 years. And I'm going to try and keep it real.
You should move around more.
So in 2014, I was spending a year back in Lincolnshire. That's why we were actually able to film videos together. I no longer live there. I moved to London not long after, I think, our last video. And then I just found a random
I forget which order that it goes in.
I found a random house share on Gumtree, moved into it. Why not? So then I lived in an attic there for a year or two, an actual attic on a mattress.
Okay, sounds great.
Did some internships at music studios. I got my dream job working for like one of the best people ever in the music industry, and then decided I hated it and quit. Which is a reoccurring theme in my life. I went vegan before I was only vegetarian. I forgot that had happened in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Through that house share that I moved to in London, I met my friend Tegan, and I helped her set up her business, Tegan the Vegan, which is like...
So lucky that her name was vegan.
So lucky, isn't it? Yeah, so that's it was a baking predominantly company, but now she does like all sorts of food and it's all delicious. Go see her if you're in London. Then I ran out of money, so I moved to Nottingham to live with another friend of mine, and I got an office job working for a meat company.
Of course. Why
Because
wouldn't you?
my life is literally written by sitcom writers, that's why. um, so I worked there for like a year, no, maybe 18 months. It was the longest job I've had for
That is
some
quite
time.
long for you.
But I hated that, and what it led to was I drank a lot, and I drank more whilst living in Nottingham than any previous years combined. Hit some dark days in Nottingham. But then I decided to change things, so I quit that job. I quit drinking. I went to the doctors. I got help for depression, went on to antidepressants. I met my boyfriend Adam. Moved in with him. Did a research master's because I thought I'm not educated enough. That's what's going wrong in my life. So I did a research master's in music, which I finished beginning of this year. And then I've moved to Wales because why not? And now I'm helping Adam. He has his own design company. I'm helping him run that. And I'm setting up my own company, which I'm not going to talk too much about until it's done, but it will be launching this year.
Your life is so much more interesting than mine.
Well, yeah, but I've had a lot less holidays.
Oh,
because I have no money. The problem with quitting your job all the time is no one pays you anymore.
God, rude.
I know. Why would I pay me? So yeah, that was my 6 years. And yeah, now I'm on literally the edge of Wales. I'm basically in the Irish Sea.
Oh,
that's why I've gone to
live by the sea. Yeah, you're Irish now. Next step, just move to Ireland.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk across. I'm sure it's walkable. How have we changed since 2014? Have we changed?
I don't think I've changed that much. I think like I am a bit more grown up, a bit more mature. You don't think of yourself as being immature, but then you kind of think back and you think
you get old.
Yeah, a bit old. I'm old now. And just like obviously last time I was on the brink of like settling down.
Oh.
And now I'm just like
I had to burn for a few more years.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah, more settled down and just other people will say boring, but I quite like being boring now, to be fair.
I think that I'd say that's probably my biggest change, is that I've learned that boring is not the worst thing in the world you can be.
No.
Whereas I think before I was doing everything possible to not be boring, and that meant, well, I can't say I've stopped moving around, but I stopped just constantly looking for something better and constantly trying to be better and trying to change myself and change my life. I feel like now, even though I still do move, I'm much more at peace and like just calmer with myself. Oh yeah, I quit drinking too. That helped.
Oh yeah. Do you still not drink at all?
No. It's been 18 months, I think.
Wow.
Somewhere like that. I know, it's bizarre. And before, if you had told me that, I'd be like, no, there's no way. I'd be like, what's the point in living if you can't have wine?
I drink a lot less. So that's good.
Again, I'm definitely not like no one should drink. For me, it was not doing me any favors. So
that's good.
I'm much better without it.
Good. I can't handle hangovers now at all.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Every time the hangover was getting worse. I was like, it's just not worth it. You only get like 3 hours of fun, and then 3 days.
And then especially because I'm like, oh, I won't be able to go on a bike ride tomorrow if I drink. I'm like, am I 80 or what?
I don't care. Bike rides are fun if you have the right seat. The seat that I borrowed Adam's mum's bike the other week, and my butt hurt for days. It's not. I don't know how people do it.
My bike is so comfy.
I haven't been on one since.
It's amazing. It's not, my butt doesn't hurt at all.
Okay, no need to brag. This kind of came about because we actually had to talk properly because lockdown and stuff happened, and then I started making contact with people. I have talked to more people since lockdown happened than I have talked to in years.
Crazy,
I'm video calling my family. I'm texting people I went to school with, seeing how they're doing.
I think that's a good thing about what's happened. It's like got people together more. I think it's weird because you're like, me and my family don't really talk a lot, or like with my mum and my sister, because and they're only 2 hours away. But like when you work full time, it's hard to, go down often. But I probably see them like the same because I only saw them every few months anyway. But like it's when you can't see someone, it's like, oh, I miss you.
It's not, I don't know, I think it's not even that I was missing people. I think what made me start to reach out to people was the fact that everyone else started missing people, and I started going, well, I feel fine, and then I started to question, like, when was the last time I spoke to people, and maybe I should speak to people more just to be, better at friendship.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah, so that's kind of how, and then we had that idea that if we're like video calling anyway, may as well record it, check it on YouTube, because why not? And then also, if we plan to do this once a month, that's like a regular, we're actually talking to each other once a month.
Yeah, so it's like double whammy.
Exactly. But so yeah, how is lockdown for you? What are you doing?
Well, lockdown for me is my normal life, but better. because you don't have to go near people.
Because you don't have to go into work.
Oh, well, I got furloughed, and obviously, like, that was the best thing ever. Getting paid to not work, come on. But yeah, I'm good on my own. Like, I know I've got Mark here, but even if he wasn't here, I could literally spend like years just on my own.
Yeah, I think I'd be fine.
I've got Haggis, my cat.
Yeah, not just a cupboard full of.
I feel like I don't want to like rub it in, because I know a lot of people are struggling, and like my mum's been on her own. I know it's been hard for her and things like that, but I know I'm not on my own. But for me, like, I find it fine. It's like my life anyway. So, and now I'm back at work now, but it's great working from home because I don't have to get up like 5 o'clock to do a workout, because I can do like a workout on my lunch break. I can just get up, an hour. I like to get up an hour before work just so I can have a coffee and like
wake up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been so good for me. I've managed to lose over a stone since lockdown. I've lost 2 stone now since January. But just being more active, which now, even though I'm back at work, we're still continuing going on our 4.5 mile walk every day. And just like, it's been so good for me. Just obviously I don't struggle a lot mentally as much as some people do, but it's just nice being more active and just.
I agree. Like, I would love to offer some balance so that we have like a nice debate, but I can't. It's also been great for me. I think there's going to be people watching this just like, these bitches.
Yeah.
I've
so
also
great, like,
more than
when I've had to go in a shop and people don't like touch you. The best.
It's amazing because you now have a reason to stare at them like you're too close.
Yeah, like, get away from me. People aren't actually climbing on your back in the queue. Like, it's great.
And this is the world we were meant to live in.
You're allowed, when you're walking it towards someone, you're allowed to cross the road and no one finds it weird.
Yeah, people are going to hate us. I love it. It's great. The hardest bit that I've had really is so Adam's mum had the virus, so we had to lock down as a household completely for 2 weeks, and that was a bit boring because I couldn't even go for walks or anything.
Yeah, that must have been really hard.
And I've been getting really into walks. I put like my headphones in, listen to podcasts, and like I'll be gone for a couple of hours. And also the other thing is I probably wouldn't even mind staying inside a house for 2 weeks on my own. There's other people.
Yeah, I think it's worse.
And then all of you are getting antsy. It's a bit, yeah. But that was 2 weeks, and then it was over. And other than that, it's been great. I've lost weight. I've been getting out. I've been reading more. I've been working more on my business. I've been more like motivated to help Adam with his.
You just could get so much more done. I mean, obviously I would choose like those 40,000 people being alive over having this lockdown, but I think, you know, you can't change what's happening to you, so you might as well make the most of it while you can, because when do we get an opportunity like this?
I've come to the conclusion of as well, because I know people that have done nothing but complain, like, and to clarify, I don't mean the people that are sick or the people that have lost their jobs or whatever, but people that are in relatively comfortable circumstances that have done nothing but complain. And it's like, well, nothing that bad has happened to you. Why not just make the most of this time to do the things that you're interested in?
People in the olden days had to go to war. All you have to do is stay at home for a bit.
Stay at home and watch Netflix.
What annoys me is like it'll be the people who I do this as well, but I haven't been complaining. Every Monday going to work, they're like, "Oh God, I wish I didn't have to go to work. Oh, Monday." And then they're the people that are like, "Oh God, I want to go to work. I want to go out. I want to go to the shop." And it's like, why? You literally can't win.
No, I think that's the big lesson, isn't it? It's these people won't be happy regardless because of their attitude to life. I think if you have a much more like just be grateful for what you've got at any given time, then you'll be happier whether you're in the office or out the office. Or
exactly.
I still would recommend life outside the office because
DPD just turned up.
What have you got ordered?
I'll show you. I love it. I've had my eye on this on ASOS. You're gonna hate this, but it's very me. And it was like a third of the price I saw yesterday in the sale, and they had an extra 20% off in the sale yesterday. So I was like, I was looking at my phone and I went, ah! And Mark was like, what? I was like, the bag I want is on sale.
It's gonna be, I already feel like it's gonna have cats on, or it's gonna be bright red and tartan, or
it's a lot more sparkly than it looked in the picture.
Oh my God. I should have named mermaid. That was the next option. Cat, tartan, mermaid.
I don't know how to open it.
And where are you taking this bag?
It's very, very, very sparkly. I didn't even, maybe a bit too sparkly for me.
Is this for your night out on your bicycle? Like what?
A holiday.
Okay.
Not that I'm going on holiday this year.
Where are you going?
But next year. It's very me.
Yeah. I like it for you.
Thanks. How sophisticated do we both look with our books in the background?
I know. We're like the people on news. Look. Well,
some like ornaments in between. And
that was my washing. Oh, hags. I can't believe I'm friends with a cat now.
I know.
He comes and sits on me in the morning.
Aww.
I give him a little... And he hasn't done this to me in ages. Which is my main problem with cats. If cats didn't have claws, I probably would have been a fan much quicker.
That's when they're like really comfy. They're like,
Yeah, but I'm not comfortable, am I?
No, I just wear like massive fluffy things when Haggis is on me, so I can't feel it.
No, I'm just always hot. Anyway, moving on. So, before when we had the blog, it was a blog, we did writing.
It is.
we were always talking about books and stuff. So I was thinking every month we can do, what have you read this month? But obviously it's been 6 years. I'm not suggesting we go through what we've read in the last 6 years. I think we can be here forever. So just in the last bit of time, what have you been reading?
I could do, well, I started off lockdown, like just before lockdown, I said I wanted to read all like the classics that, you know, are famous, but I've never read. So I started that anyway. But actually, like, I read so much in one go that I actually haven't read in about a month, because I literally like read myself out.
I've been doing the same thing. I've not read for a few weeks now because I just was like, oh, I can't take any more.
Although I love reading and it's my favourite thing, so, and it was affecting my sleep, because I like to read before bed because it makes me tired, but then most of the time, because I'm really into the book, I'll then stay up till like 3 o'clock because I've got to finish it, so it's actually like hindrance.
Also, classics are pretty full on.
I have actually been making a list anyway.
I made a list too.
So I've read Great Expectations, because I'd only ever read the first bit.
I don't think I've read it.
It's hard going, actually. It's a bit tedious, I think. Because I'm sure I read some of it at school, and I was like, wow, this is good, but I think I just like pretended it was good or something, or because I'd only read a bit of it, because the first bit's all right, then the middle bit's a bit rubbish, and the last bit's all right. Emma, Little Women.
Read that. That's Austen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, it was it's like a bit of a nothing book. I think a lot of them they were just about, because they're about women.
I read this one.
Oh, I haven't read that one yet. Is it good?
No, it took me forever to get through it. I didn't care about anyone. The writing was boring. Nothing really happened. The most exciting bit was where someone hit their head, and that took 3/4 of the book to get through.
Yeah, Emma's a bit like that. It's a bit like, what's the point in this? There is a bit of a story, but it's just about like her and meddling with other people's lives and stuff.
Somewhere in there, I think I have Emma, but that's the first Austen I've ever read, and it doesn't make me want to read another.
No, it's weird, isn't it? Because some of the books you're like, how is this so famous?
Yeah, well, I don't think Persuasion's like her most famous one. I think Emma is probably, or Northanger Abbey.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't read that one yet though. I read Little Women.
Oh, I also have not read that. Was it good?
Yeah, it's all right. Again, it's just like, it's about these people's lives and getting married and stuff, because, you know, that's all
I think
women
this is
do.
my problem. Like, I don't care. Like, in Persuasion, a lot of it is, you know, that old society thing of like, oh, she can't possibly marry him because he's not from money. And then, you know, he goes away and he becomes a Navy guy, and so now he's allowed to marry her, but he's with someone else. And it's like,
yeah, a lot of it's like that. And,
I don't think I would have got on very well in old school society.
No. 1984.
I read that. Yeah. I like it.
Pretty good. Yeah. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
I think it's one of those things that I knew a lot about it already because it's referenced so much by people in modern life.
Yeah, you always hear about it.
That I knew the kind of idea of it already. But if you, like, I read it, I really enjoyed it, and I tried to read it pretending I knew nothing about it. And I find it really impressive. Like, when was it written? Like 50 something, or I have this cover. It's got a lovely chair.
Oh, lovely.
It was written in 1949. Like, I think the imagination of it is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
Because you can like still hold it pretty much to today, like the same sort of society. Whereas Austen, no. I know Austen is older. What are you okay?
Oh, Hermes is outside my birch box.
Oh my God, how many deliveries do you get a day?
Not usually a lot. They just sort of showed up on the same day. Oh, let me just get it. Thank God you can edit this. Okay. I read.
Doesn't mean I will.
Yeah, just me like getting parcels. I read a book called Worst Case. I think it's by James Patterson. Just because that was I was waiting for new books to come and I needed a little bit of a break between the classics. It's just like a detective crime.
I've heard of James Patterson. I've never really read many like thrillery, detective-y.
Yeah, I
really...
like them. It's like really easy reading, but the writing was so big on the pages. I had to turn because all my classics are like really small and long. It was so big, like it was annoying me how often I had to turn the page. Yeah, it was all right. It was just none of them are like, I don't think ever like wow, but it was good.
Just a nice filler.
Yeah, nice filler.
This is what I need to start reading because also recently I read Anton Chekhov, A Nervous Breakdown, which is like, there's 3 short stories in here, but again, it's like classic-y and quite heavy going. But I've realised I like classics when they're depressing. Like, it's more fun when it's depressing. So Persuasion and Austen is because they're going to get together and you just know they're going to get together and it's like, ugh. Jane Eyre, I read that. And that I loved. It was much.
That is literally my favorite book that I've read in ages. I absolutely loved it.
It went straight up to like one of my favorite lists. But I think because it needs a bit of tragedy to be interesting.
Although that brings me on to Wuthering Heights.
See, I love Wuthering Heights.
Because the girl Justine who I work with, it's her like favorite book too. So when I posted a picture that I bought it, she was like, "Oh my God, it's my favorite book. You have to let me know." And it's literally like, I think this is the only book I've ever hated in my life. Everyone's just so mean.
That's why I like it.
Oh, I don't know, because I can deal with like dark stuff. I like depressing stuff, but I don't know whether it was just like my headspace at the time, but I was just like, why is no one happy?
See, I read it and I'm like, yeah, no one's happy. No one's happy. This is much more realistic.
I just really hated everyone, all the characters in it, and they were just annoying me.
I haven't read it for a couple of years. It would probably be quite interesting to see what I think of it now I'm on antidepressants.
Yeah, maybe you'll be like, oh no.
I love it. Like I think also I love the language of it more. There's some really nice like phrases in there which I enjoy.
Yeah. I think I quite liked not liking it though, because I love reading most books, even if they're a bit rubbish, I'm like, I enjoyed that just because it's a book. So it was actually like nice to know that actually
there is something
that I didn't like something.
You found your limit.
Yeah.
What else have I read? I've read I don't just read fiction. I read Goodbye Things, which is about minimalist living, and I don't think I'm quite ready to live like this guy who has nothing. But
I think there's a line.
I'm definitely ready to give up a lot of belongings, except books. I'll never give up books.
Yeah. It's good to declutter, but I think you could take it a bit too far.
Well, I think it's also the book was like a bit more in depth than I was expecting. I was expecting it to just be like, so I got rid of all my things and now I feel happier and I can around. And it is a bit like that, but then also it sort of assessed why we feel we need so much in the first place. Why do we fill our homes with so much stuff that essentially doesn't do anything? So I would recommend that if you want a non-fiction read. It is it's more psychological than I was thinking.
I like that. I quite like psychological side of stuff.
I've also been, trying to spiritually awaken to live my authentic self. So I read, and I'm going to say his name wrong because I cannot pronounce Vietnamese names. I read The Art of Living by Thich Nhat Hanh, who's like a famous monk.
Oh.
And I think The Art of Living was a short book he released not long before his death, so it was like one of his last works, and basically his opinion of like what leads to a good life. And I've been like, you know, letting go of stuff, and it's nice, but I made the mistake of reading that, and like, so it's a really short book. I read that in the morning in the garden, and then before I went to bed at night I read the Communist Manifesto.
Oh.
The next morning I woke up like,
What?
like, what did I do to myself?
Oh my god. It's a bit intense.
Again, Communist Manifesto, it's only like 30 pages. Really quick read. Really good nighttime read.
Lovely. Light reading.
Free on the Kindle. That's why I had it.
I like that you get free books off there.
I've got loads on Kindle that were free. A lot of the classics are free at the moment. And then, I mean, I read quite a lot this month, but I'm now taking a little break because I read too much. But I've planned what I intend to read next month. Because I figure if I set the goal of reading certain books, sometimes I go to the bookshelf and I'm like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what I want. So I have
pre-plan.
There was a slam. I bought this one. It's called City of Girls. I bought it on a Tesco shop. Nice. I was feeling, you know, lockdown bored.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I need to buy books. Obviously, that's what's missing in my life.
Yeah.
And I know nothing about it other than it's by, thanks to this little sticker here, it's by the same author that wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which I've never read, but I've seen the film. And I just wanted something easy. I think it's probably around the time I finished the Communist Manifesto, I was like, I need to just read like some chick lit or something.
Yeah.
So I have that.
Sometimes it's just like nice for your brain.
I know,
not have to think.
And then I have Girl, Woman, Other, which it was like the first ever joint Booker Prize winner last year. So I asked for it for Christmas. I got it for Christmas and I haven't got around to reading it yet, but it's like a big hardback.
Oh, I like it.
I'm quite excited for that. And then the last one that I'm definitely going to read this month is Invisible Women. As you can see, I used it for my thesis. It's got all like post-it notes. Exposing data bias in a world designed for men. So it's basically about how literally everything is designed with a man in mind and how that leads to disadvantages for women without us even realising it. Like phones are designed for men, that's why we can't get our thumbs all the way up the screen.
Weird.
Like that.
I get thumbache really badly.
But yeah, so obviously I've already skimmed it because I used it for my thesis, but I haven't read it page to page.
I've read it.
So that's what I'm reading this month. What about you?
I've got Dorian Gray, The Picture of Dorian Gray to read.
That's another one of my favourites.
Yeah, I was meant to.
Which now probably means you hate it.
Maybe. I know like a bit about the story though, so so yeah, I still need to get around to reading that. Other than that, I've got these Stephen Fry books that are about the Greek. Like he retells Greek stories. I've got Mythos and Heroes.
I always think about buying those.
Yeah, I started one, but I never got through it. So I was going through like you have to be in like the mood. Frame of mind. Yeah, the mood. But I really love stuff like that, so I want to get around to reading both of those. So I might do that this month. Other than that, nothing. I think that's enough.
Yeah, I think I'm only setting the intention of 3, and then anything more is like a bonus.
bonus, but then you don't feel bad if you don't.
Exactly. Aim low.
Yeah.
That's my motto.
And then it can only go up from there. That's the motto in life.
I thought we could do like a recommendations section of just anything else other than books that you have enjoyed this month, or obviously for this one, the last bit of time, like TV or whatever. What have you been enjoying?
I watched Sex Education on Netflix.
Oh, I still haven't watched that. Apparently it's filmed in Wales.
It's really funny. It's really funny, but then it's also like there's some like deep, like good deep bits and themes in there. Like
Okay.
it switches between like relationships.
That's
and
the one. Does it have Gillian Anderson?
Yeah, she's great in it.
I like her.
So yeah, it's I definitely recommend it. Justine, who I work with, she recommended it to me, and I thought, oh, I'll watch that 'cause it's quite funny. So yeah, it's really good.
Awesome.
Watch it. Yeah.
I have a few, and the first three make me sound really cultured, so I've balanced it out with trash at the end. So on BBC 4 on iPlayer at the moment, there are Shakespeare productions. Because obviously no one can go out to the theatre, so they've provided loads for free on iPlayer. And I wanted to feel a bit cultured, but also didn't want to get full into Shakespeare, so I picked the easy one, which is Midsummer Night Dream.
Nice.
It's the easiest one to get into, I find. But the version that's on there is like kind of Bollywood inspired, and they've got a sitar in the background, and it's all musical and stuff, and it was like one of the most like fun versions of it I've seen, so I definitely recommend that. And also the good thing about Midsummer Night Dream is it's a comedy, and I did actually laugh.
That's good.
It's weird because when it first starts, you're like, I'm never going to get the hang of this talking, like I cannot understand what they're saying, but then by the end of it, like you understand everything. It's great. So yeah, that was my first recommend. And then slight turn, also on BBC 4, there's a documentary called Storyville, Terror in the Jungle, and it's about the Jonestown Massacre. Have you heard of it before? Oh, have you heard the phrase "drink the Kool-Aid"?
Yes.
Yeah. So that phrase.
Oh, it's like the cult thing.
Yeah. So all I really knew was that there was a cult and they all drank cyanide in Kool-Aid and killed themselves. That's all I knew. But there was so much more than that. And I became obsessed with this documentary. It's a 2-parter, 80 minutes each.
I love stuff like that.
And it's just insane. Like this guy, he just started a church. That's where it started. He started a church in, I think it was Virginia or something. And it started out as like this social movement because he was the only church at the time that was accepting white and black people. And then they all came together and it was all love and peace. And you know how I love a hippie commune.
Of course.
And then it ends with 918 people dying.
Insane.
And I don't want to spoil it, even though it's history. I'm not going to spoil it about how they got there. You should definitely watch it. But now I'm a bit upset.
I like to watch that because I like stuff like that. I'm a bit weird.
I just always love. I watched. Have you seen Wild Wild Country on Netflix?
No.
It's another cult gone wrong. That's like my favourite genre. That one was also in America. He came over from India, and that one's like an actual series though. I think there's like 8 episodes or something. That's another good watch. And then my last cultured one on Disney Plus, if you have it. I only have it for a couple more weeks. So you know there's The Mandalorian, which is
which I haven't watched yet, and I want to.
Well, watch that.
Yeah.
Because it's good. But I am actually recommending the program called The Gallery, which is behind the scenes of The Mandalorian. And it explains all the tech that they used. And it is so amazing. Like, they don't use green screen anymore. They have this entire, like, room just filled with screens. And they put the back set onto the screen. And then the screen moves as they're filming.
Oh, my God.
And then there's, I was
going to say, isn't that directed by Taika Waititi?
He did some of the episodes, yeah, and he's in loads of the background.
I love him so much.
I really
I'm
do.
like in love with him.
Oh, you definitely need to watch it then, because there's a lot of him talking about his work. But I agree.
Okay, yeah. I'll watch The Mandalorian first, and then I'll watch that.
Yeah, because then it'll be more impressive when you see how they did it.
Crazy. Just boggles my mind.
Oh, I have two more. One is cultured and one is really not. So then I've also been watching Grace and Perry's Art Club, which is on All 4 or 4OD or whatever they're calling it these days. And that's just fun because, like, obviously it's a program that's literally only come about because of this whole pandemic, and it's really weird. Like, it's nice that like a mainstream channel is now showing actual just art and getting everyone involved in art, but it took a pandemic for that kind of program to get commissioned, which I think is weird. I think more people are into art than they give credit. But it's just like Grace and Perry's just a cool guy, and it's just, and he always has comedians on doing art. So Noel Fielding was on, which I know you would appreciate, and like Joel Lycett and stuff, and they're all shockingly good artists, and it's really annoying. And then, you know, to balance it out, because I was starting to get a bit too educated, I've been rewatching Super Size versus Super Skinny on Prime.
Of course.
It's awful. It's weird because it was made, I think they were made like 2010 to 2012, something like that. And the stuff that they say on that program now, you would not get away with.
Is it really bad?
Well, just the whole, where they have the people that don't know, it's a program where they get a really fat person and a really skinny person, and they make them swap diets for a week so that they learn to eat less or eat more.
Usually both of them have like ridiculous diets.
Yeah, and some of them are on, you know, some of them have binge eating disorders, some of them have anorexia. Like, they should not be.
Yeah, like literally, like they'll just drink Diet Coke all day and that's it.
They need help, not a TV program.
Eat a can of tuna in a day.
But the thing where they, like, so on the earlier series, they have 2 tubes and they chuck down the food that each person has eaten in an entire week. And then, like, that Dr. Christian guy just goes, like, that is not a helpful attitude. They go, oh, not many vegetables in there. Like,
a lot of those programs are just really bad.
I mean, it's
entertaining, but
as I'm describing it, I'm wondering why I've been watching it. But
both of the people usually like need some psychological help, not just like shaming them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as, did you ever see Fat Families?
I think so.
It has, I can't remember the guy's name, but the presenter on that was just like, the voiceovers were always like, look at this bunch of fatties, these lard asses.
Oh my god.
And like, just straight up fat shaming them the whole way until they lost weight, and when they didn't lose weight, shame them some more. I mean, I do not condone any of these like as serious watching, but for some reason it's really good. I don't know, when I'm working, I need something in the background that I don't really want to pay attention to. And the most fascinating bit about it I found is like just how much we've changed in those 10 years. Not weight-wise, we still have a really big problem with weight in the UK, but just the terms of language and how we talk about it has changed massively. Music-wise, I release a playlist every month, just go there.
Okay, that was easy.
I think is my answer. I'll put a link in. I've been making like a 2-hour playlist every month. Last month was like super gym, bro, yeah, because I was getting back into running, but I've hurt my ankle. So this month's is very much guitar,
nice.
movie. Yeah.
Nice.
How about you?
I haven't been listening to a lot of music, really. Don't know why. Mainly 21 Pilots.
I mean, I feel like that will be every month for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit rubbish. I just stick with what I know, which is quite bad.
What you
I
enjoy.
like a lot of Billie Eilish. Yeah.
Maybe I should pick her out.
Yeah, I like it. I like her a lot. You might like it 'cause it's a bit like depressing and
Yeah, that's my vibe.
yeah. I just like, I just like her. What else? Not much else really, because I listen to a lot of music like when I go to work, like in my car and then on the walk to work and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've been at home, I don't know. It's weird. I don't really play a lot of music at home. I don't know why.
I think I definitely, when I was a teenager, like when we were teenagers, all we were about was music. And I feel like,
Oh yeah.
actually, I'm saying that I have just done a music degree. Okay. I was about to say, and I'm not really as into music, but that's a complete lie because I obviously still am. Like, I think I listen differently to how I used to. Now, maybe it's because before, when we were younger, CDs were a thing.
Yeah.
Like you put on a CD and normally that meant you listen to a whole CD, whereas now I put on Spotify and then I just
play
go
a
around.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do playlists and I think they're pretty cool, so go check those out. Like on walks and stuff, I listen to podcasts more than anything.
I don't listen to podcasts. No,
You don't
like
listen to podcasts? I'm trying to convert everyone to podcasts. I'm still trying to get Adam to listen to so many because he's trying to run a business and I'm like, there's so many business ones out there. You could be getting knowledge while you're walking.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's like learning whilst walking. It's great. Saying the two that I'm going to recommend aren't really, I guess they are education. So Louis Theroux's got one now. Because he can't film a series because it's a pandemic. So he's been doing lockdown. Oh, yeah. He's been doing lockdown podcasts, and I listened to the one with Lenny Henry, and that was really good. So you should go listen to that. Because Lenny Henry, he's just always been there, and I never really thought about how he came to be like so huge in England. Like it just, I don't know. I've never thought about where he came from, but it's really interesting to hear his story of how he became Lenny Henry. And obviously the way through is Louis. I love Louis. Yeah. And the other one that I've been listening to a lot is Catherine Ryan, you know, the comedian. She's Canadian.
Yeah, I know her.
She has one called Telling Everybody Everything, and it's weird because most podcasts are set up like an interview situation or like a two-person situation. Hers is just her and a microphone, just whatever she feels like talking about that day. So yeah, those are my two podcast recommendations. You should listen to just one of any podcast before next month. Yeah,
I will. That's my homework.
Yeah, it can be any that you want. There's literally something for everyone out there. There's even kids ones. There's ones for your dog. I'm not kidding.
And a cat?
There's probably ones for cats. I haven't looked.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it.
And then my favourite purchases of the month, but you've already done yours kind of because they came as we were. I
bought a lot more.
This perfume.
Ooh.
So it's Stella McCartney. And I've always used her other one, which I think is just called Stella. I don't know. But this one was on offer when I was doing a Superdrug order. And it's usually like 50 quid or something, but it was £15. And it's called Pop Bluebell. And I was like, oh, I've never seen a Bluebell perfume. So I ordered it without knowing what it smelled like. And thankfully, it's really good. And they use some sort of, look here, sourced responsibly from Headspace Technology, helping to protect the English bluebell because it's an endangered species. So there's no actual bluebell, but they use some technical fancy shit, and it smells like a bluebell. My only problem with it is this bottle. It's ugly.
Oh.
And the spray comes out there.
Oh, that's a bit weird.
Horrible, isn't it?
Well, who cares? As long as it smells
but anyway, it smells good. And then my slightly less glamorous second recommendation is these.
Oh, so they're pretty.
There's a company called Snag Tights, And so I have some of their actual long tights, and I would 100% recommend. They're like $6.99. They do all the sizes. I always have a problem because I'm tall and fat. So like in shops, they assume if you're fat, you must be short. And if you're tall, you must be skinny. So every pair of tights I've ever bought have never fit properly. They either roll down or can't go over my thighs or whatever. Theirs all fit. It's amazing. And then these, I think they call them their chub rub shorts. So if you're wearing a dress and you get chub, these, pop them on. You can't see them under the dress, but you don't get any of the chub when you walk in. And that's my top recommendation.
I've got similar sorts of things to that, but not from the same place.
Okay,
makes you feel better. Huh?
I didn't know that actually was a thing until I saw it on Snack Times. Again, I don't shop much.
Okay. I got that collective red check dress.
Yes, I like the collective stuff, but it's very your vibe, and I feel like a lot of it I don't think I could pull off, but I do love their stuff.
I do love it. And discovering that eBay, because their stuff's quite expensive, but I discovered their eBay like selling site where they sell stuff off that's got something slightly wrong with it, or like in this case it was just the belt that was missing. Now all my dresses come with belts, but I literally just have a bag full of belts because I just take them off and chuck them in the bag because I don't ever wear them with belts. But because it just needed a white belt, I've got white belts if I wanted anyway. So that dress £65 new, but I got it for like £20.
That's really good.
No, just because it didn't have
like
a belt.
40 quid for a belt, that doesn't make logical sense.
So yeah, I set them up as like a saved search on eBay, so every time they put up something new, I'm like, woo.
And last question, what is something that you have learned that you didn't know a month ago?
Oh.
Or a bit ago, because obviously this is not the monthly.
You start.
The Welsh language, I already knew it was weird, right? But they have two options for words. If you're looking for a translation in Welsh, it's either a rip-off of the English word, just with some like extra letters. Like, so the word for focus, example, is FFOCWS. Like it's basically the English word, and they're like, oh, we'll just pick it up a bit. Or it's insane and it's 5 words for one word that make no sense.
Oh my god.
It's really hard to explain without visual representation, but the Welsh language is the weirdest one I've seen yet, and I'm normally pretty good at picking up languages. Like I picked up French.
Even like all the place names and stuff, you can tell. But
I have no idea how to say half the places I live near.
I feel like there's loads of just L's, isn't there? Like, how do I say this?
The double L isn't an L, it's like that's my best that Adam's been trying to teach me. That's as close as I've got to it so far. Is
nice.
I'm not doing it any justice. I'm so sorry, Welsh people.
You tried, it's fine. God, you're just gonna put me to shame because I don't know anything. Well, I did love. I know it like we're completely different because you like serious like things, and I'm just rubbish and don't do anything. But I did learn how to make bread.
That's a thing. What's wrong with that? That's a legit skill. I can't make bread.
Okay.
Like,
so I've been practicing.
Not just like you followed a recipe, you actually have learned the stuff about why it's bread and stuff.
Yes, that's another book that I got it on Kindle. It's called Brilliant Bread by James Morton, who was on the Bake Off. So he in there he explains like all the ins and outs of breads and like the difference between like supermarket bread and normal bread and stuff like that. So I started off with like a basic bread where you don't really have to knead it. So you just like get into grips with the dough and everything like that. And then I'll move on to like
the serious stuff.
Spreads. Yeah.
See, that's a skill. That's definitely something you've learned. It doesn't have to be philosophical. It just has to be something you didn't know last month. Because I think people underestimate how much you learn and grow and stuff over a month.
Yeah.
That's all.
I felt proud of myself when I'd done it.
It looked good on Instagram. I wish I could eat it. But unfortunately, we live in different countries and are no longer allowed to meet. So that is the catch up, I think, that I'll probably do for this month. And then next month, we'll do more of the same. And try not to be 6 years.
A podcast.
Yes, listen to a podcast. Because what I was thinking of doing was taking the audio of this and just putting it on podcast. Because sometimes I'm in the mood to watch YouTubers, but sometimes I'd rather listen and walk. So I was thinking,
yeah, because especially like this, like there's only so much you can watch my face. Come on.
What do you mean?
I'm struggling, and it's my face.
It's just getting shinier and shinier. So yeah, I was like, I'll see if I can figure out, I don't know, I've never looked into it, but if there's a way to put it onto podcast stuff, and then, people have got the option.
And that'll be a new skill for you next month.
Exactly. And then you can say, not only have I listened to a podcast, but I am a podcast.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well,
have a lovely day.
Everyone for watching. If you did, well done. And like and subscribe and all that business.
Wherever the buttons are.
The box is down here, I think. We're out of practice. See you next month. Bye.